select.
That's good to know.
All set.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the Bylaw Charter Review Committee meeting for Tuesday, November 12th, 2024 at 5 p.m. We have a quorum, and we would love to have more people join us because, after all, there are 3 of us, and we have 2 missing, 2 open spots, so we would really appreciate having additional people volunteer to be on this committee. We could use you. We have no public comment. We have no public. We have next is review and approval of the minutes for September 10th, 2024. We had no meeting in October. You had the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Any corrections or discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, we got that. Under continuing business, review of items to be submitted or resubmitted to the Select Board for charter bylaw changes for next town meeting. I did a quick synopsis, and you can have a blank one for the minutes. It is basically the report that we issued to the Select Board in January 2024, all the items that we had, whether or not they were charter or bylaw, and if they went onto the warrant or they were just left. We had a report that we issued in February of 2024 on the HR position. I can see I can't spell.
Yes, I've noticed that.
Silently correcting my grammar, right? And spelling. And then we can have possible report for January 2025, some things that we've been talking about. So I'm sure the Select Board is anxiously awaiting our next memo. Are there things we'd like to put forward from the last report? Are there anything that we've talked about since then?
I don't have anything, except for what we've been reviewing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's kind of what this is.
Right.
I mean, some of the things that, while we have the stuff that was from last year, some that didn't find favor with the Select Board, some they think about, but current ones would be the library trustees have completely rewritten their section. The Housing Authority, our charter has it, the composition changed through the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, 3 elected, 1 a renter to be appointed by the Select Board and 1 appointed by the Commonwealth of Mass. That should be changed to reflect current conditions. And we had, in Chapter 7, there's inconsistency between how each committee or board or commission versus where it is in the bylaw, to see if we could make a suggestion that say, how could we word these things so that we could say the such and thus committee in the charter is responsible for such and thus. See bylaw section 7, chapter 7, section what, for composition.
Okay.
And just make it, clean that all up, because they're all different.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that we've seen in the regulatory committees as we've been looking at this has been, we should be adding Mass General Law references. This regulatory committee comes under regulations of Mass General Law, whatever.
Whatever it is, yep.
So,
Just clarification,
yeah.
what does C mean in B?
Oh, charter bylaw,
Bylaws, thank you.
sorry.
Yeah, no,
C.
it took me a minute to think
Yeah.
about that.
Okay, thank you.
So what do we want to do? I think the stuff for a possible report to send to the Select Board for January could include those ones on the bottom that I just mentioned. We could
Yes,
put
yeah,
something
yeah,
together.
agreed, yeah, yes.
And is there anything above from the last report that are still sitting as pending? I mean, The additions to staff to be in a separate article, I know is still on people's minds.
Yes, I'm sure, yep.
You know, the additional information that we suggested in the warrant on revolving funds,
Yeah,
et cetera. There are things there that I think that, should we continue?
we talked about the charter town meeting to be the first week of May.
And that
We
went
talked
on,
about that, and that was, yes.
that went on the warrant and
Yeah.
passed.
Charter and bylaw, yes, and consistency with charter, then bylaws, then MLG. A progression of
Yep.
whenever they mention, yeah, yeah.
And that was supposed to be reviewed with the attorney as to what the attorney thinks legally has to be
Yes.
the, who goes first, who goes second, who goes third. Because there seems to be some issue that should Mass General Law go first or the charter go first. So we could bring that one up and say, has this been reviewed by the attorney? What's the answer?
Yes, that would be one.
That would be
Yeah.
one. The warrants to be mailed to every household, I know, did not find pleasure.
Right,
Neither did the the Maytown meeting and the Fall Town meeting.
right, that was another, yeah. So obviously, we're just having a Maytown meeting,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
And anything
So-
else would be a special. Would we like to bring up again the additions to staff being in a separate article?
I don't know, Anita, do you feel that?
It's historically always been done, put it in an article, so that way that the public does know that, yes, we are adding additional staff.
I think
It's
it's a good thing.
I
Yes,
think
yes.
it's a good thing.
Yes,
And it was definitely done for a while, and then it stopped being
for
done.
some reason.
It had been done,
Yeah.
and then it stopped being done 10, 15 years ago.
I just think it's a good idea.
I do too.
That it needs to be,
It's very clear to the public
Public.
and not buried.
what we're paying, what their taxes are going for, what their
Yes.
money is going for.
Agreed, okay.
So include in the report the library rewrite, the housing authority at the bottom, chapter 7 to clean up the wording, and then have everything reference a bylaw,
Yep,
and the regulatory committees.
Correct.
yep,
Okay, I can take a crack at drafting that for our December meeting.
okay.
How's that?
Yep, that's
Cool.
great.
All right, thank you. I was just thinking about it because in talking with our liaison, Jeff Handler, he had said, is there anything that the Bylaw Charter Review Committee wants to present to the Select Board as another things to consider for changes? And I said, well, I will take it to the committee. And then I said, what do we have outstanding?
Right, no, and this is good, it's clear.
And I'll fix the typos.
Yep, yep, that's okay. There's more than one, you know.
I know,
I'm kidding,
I'm seeing them all.
teasing.
Any other comments on that?
No?
All right, new business. Review of Chapter 7, Sections 8, 12, and 15, which is Council on Aging, Zoning Board, and Cemetery. Deb?
Maria, I handed you a printout of
Yes.
Section 7-8-1. We just need to change Board of Selectmen to Select Board. I think all the other language looks fine, unless you have anything to add to it. 7-8-2, I have no recommended changes, unless you can see. As the Director of the Council of Aging shall be subject to day-to-day supervision, the town administrator within the scope of the general policy. And, see, I have a typo.
Ha!
A&D, directions established by the
Aha.
Council on Aging. All right. 7 Zoning Board of Appeals, 7-12-1, the Zoning Board of Appeals of not less than 3 members, nor more than 5 members, and 5 associate members shall be appointed by the Select Board in such numbers as outlined in Chapter 7, Article 3, Boards and Committees. of the town's bylaws for 3-year overlapping terms.
And that's what I'd like to clean up on that Chapter 7, so that they all read something like this.
So this could be like the template. for
Yeah,
all
the template.
Okay, all right. I don't, do we need to keep, Anita, that amended 5-1-2017? I guess.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think that that's what they do as far as the code is concerned,
Okay,
is they keep that as part of, so that way they know it's amended, even though I know that, I'm pretty sure there's a list of all the amendments,
right.
but at least this way it's right here,
Is it right
telling anyone who wants to look at this that, yes, it was amended under,
Okay.
this article.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
Just
That's
in
fine.
case.
Okay.
If somebody wants to go back and find when was it amended,
There
what,
you go.
et cetera.
It's right there.
Good question.
Yeah, very good question.
Chapter 7, Section 12, they should be bolded, by the way, Cemetery Commission. 715-1, a cemetery commission shall be appointed by the select board in such numbers as outlined in Chapter 7, Article 3, boards and committees of the town, bylaws for 3-year overlapping terms. Again, amended 5/1/2017. -2, Section 2 there, 715-2, the commission shall be responsible for the administration of cemetery funds and shall develop policies for the management of town-owned cemetery properties. I see no changes there. And then finally, 7-15-3, policies adopted by the commission shall be administered by the cemetery administrator, who shall be subject to the day-to-day supervision of the town administrator within the scope of the general policy and direction established by the commission. Again, I don't see any need for changes there
Okay,
as
good,
well.
good.
And that's that.
Any other comments
No.
as we march through this? All right. Second under new business is, we had a guest last time, and it was a member of the public suggested a charter amendment to require an external audit whenever there is a change in the finance director's position.
Yes.
And do we want to go forth with that in our recommendations?
I don't see any reason not to. I mean, it's just a
I think it's a
formality,
good
and
idea.
I think it's a good idea. Absolutely.
I mean, I think one of the arguments that will be raised against it will be the cost. Having an audit, a full audit, is expensive.
By a CPA,
By,
certified, yep,
yes,
yep.
if you're actually, I mean, if it's, because he did, our guest did say external audit, not somebody from the town administrator's office going down and looking at the books, but a real external audit. And, I mean, I think there's a possibility that you could have a modified review
Yeah.
to make sure the bank accounts are reconciled, things are up to date, without actually having an audit.
Right, full-blown audit. And it's independence. I mean, it's independent.
It's the independent part that is the issue.
Right.
It's not like what we just voted on Massachusetts. It's the state auditor is going to
Right.
audit the state agencies. This is more independent.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And you don't have your supervisor auditing,
correct.
because
Yes.
looking for the independence. So we would like to, would it be okay if in the write-up that I draft says it does not, consideration should be given to not a full-blown audit, which
Yep.
could be costly,
Right.
but to a specific checking to make sure that certain things are done, like bank reconciliations, like are the payables up to date? Are checks being processed? That kind of almost internal control review.
I think that would be, you look like you,
I think David was a little concerned about making sure that all the financial reports
were
yeah,
valid.
including,
Yeah.
yeah, everything.
All right, so
So
we'll leave
if
it at
that's-
external. But an audit is going to be pricey. And considering we went through 4 within a year and a half,
How can we do this without being so expensive?
Right.
It's just,
because if you say audit, that's a very technical term in the financial world. It really does mean bank confirmations and this and that and audit techniques and review and blah-da-da-da-da-da.
So how do you cut back the cost on who would do this external audit if it wasn't a full audit? Who would do it?
I would think the external CPA firm could still do a review to make sure
So that's
that-
the word, review
It's a
instead
review
of
instead
audit.
of-
Yes,
audit.
Okay.
very specific items, you know,
Okay.
again, are the bank recs up to date?
Okay.
Is there a drawer full of checks that haven't been
Okay,
deposited?
so it's a review instead of an audit.
So more of
That makes
a,
me feel better. Okay. all
so
right.
put that in there, some wording.
Right.
That, because that should not be that expensive, but I think it's, I mean, something like I mean,
Because we do
are
go
the-
through a yearly audit.
yes, we do.
so this is more specific. We're talking that the review is more specific rather than a full-blown audit.
Yeah.
When,
Yeah.
when our town accountant leaves. Okay,
Right.
all right. Yes,
Transition, yeah.
a
no,
review.
I think a
A
review would
review.
be good.
I think
And
a
I-
review would be good.
And some of the questions of, you know, I go back to bank reconciliations, they're either done or they're not done. There's no in between. They are either up to date or they're not.
Correct.
So that is not a lot of audit work. You say, show me the reconciliations for all the cash accounts.
Yes. Yep,
Done,
Okay.
yep.
type of thing.
Okay, then,
So put that, all right, so that'll be part of
Review.
it. Okay. Requests for any future agenda items, and well as the next set of what is going to be reviewed in December.
Before we get to that,
Yep,
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Any business to come before the audit committee? You had sent me an email about missing minutes on the website.
Yes.
When they redid the website, there are a few minutes that are missing, so I will make sure that the website gets updated.
okay.
So I have January 22nd, February 13th, March 4th, July 9th, and September 10th.
Very good.
All right, so
I'm
I
sure that
noticed-
as stuff, these going to new websites and transferring
common.
information,
I mean-
it never works.
Exactly. Conversions, they are always issues.
I appreciate you looking, I remember now that I'd asked you,
Yeah.
are we missing any? So if you can
Yes.
just re-update that, that would be great, and it would, hopefully other committees are doing the same thing. Future agenda items. I think
Let's see.
the ones that we still have open, I think, I mean, Deb just did that, and that, and that. So we've got things like financial provisions and procedures and additional provisions. That's me for sections 9 and 10. And we have Anita for section 8. I think we're holding off on waterways because I think they want to rewrite the whole section as to what it's doing.
Okay, so Linda, we have here Board of Health, that was done?
Yes,
Section 4, oh, yeah, okay, I have it checked.
so Linda, can you do me a favor? Can you send me that list again?
sure.
Thank you.
Board of Assessors, that's Anita,
Yeah, I think that one is open.
okay. Historic District, Historical.
Cultural Council,
Yeah. Okay,
and waterways we're going to hold.
okay.
So Anita, do you want to take Board of Assessors and Cultural Council for next time?
Sure.
Okay. Section 6.
Or do you want to hold that to January and have December be the financial one? In case there is stuff there that we'd like to recommend to the select board for charter change. That may be the more,
That may be better.
Okay, so this will be
so Anita, Board of Assessors and Cultural Council will be January,
in January, okay.
and Linda will be doing 9 and 10 for December.
No, I just have a question. I know that our next meeting is set for December 10th. I may have a conflict that day.
All right.
I don't know if we can change it.
Sure.
So I just wanted to let you know ahead of time, because I'd like to make sure that I'm here for the meeting, but I do have a conflict for that date. I know I will.
Okay, so we have calendars for December,
I do.
because I also had on the agenda the second Tuesday in November is Veterans Day,
In 25.
next year.
Right,
So we should change that as well, because I have to reserve the room, et cetera.
right.
That's a year out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a year out, but that's okay.
but you have to put your,
I
you know,
understand.
Yeah.
I was in the town administrator's office, and I was putting in for 2025, and I got to November, and I said, well, pooh, that's a problem.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty well free, depending on what your schedules are. It's just the 10th I am,
All right,
Okay.
so we can't do the 10th, let's see.
December 10th.
The
I know I can't do Wednesday night. I could do Thursday night.
the
Thursday,
12th?
12th?
Can you do Thursday, the 12th? Okay, looks good to me.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I will see
Thank you
if,
very
hopefully
much.
the room will be available.
Okay.
Change to the 12th. Same time, right, 5 o'clock?
Yeah, keep it 5 PM. Is that still, does that work for you,
Yeah,
Deb?
Yep,
Cool.
it
That's
does.
perfect.
Ooh, good, it gives me an
Thank you
extra 2
very much.
days.
Thank you very much.
And if we can, look at our calendars. I don't have a 2025 calendar with me, but what would work to change the second Tuesday in November for next year? To then get it on the calendar in the select board office.
Change, okay, Thursday, December. Let's see.
So it would be
I mean, we could do the same thing. We could do it the Thursday,
Thursday
that
the
second
13th.
week. So 11/13,
11/13, which is that Thursday.
2025.
Okay.
Huh?
So 11/13, yeah.
Yes.
got it.
2025, okay, so I will also see if that's okay there too. Both Thursdays.
The 13th, yeah. Oh, good, all right.
Just trying to be organized here.
That's a good thing.
That works.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to do for business tonight?
No,
No.
I think we're all set.
I think if we're going to go over a draft, I'll try to get a draft of a report out so we can read it before the December meeting and then start chewing away at it and see what we can to advise the select board as we're supposed to do.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, well run. Good.
Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
5:23.
Second.
5:23.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Let me turn